Check. 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 I think we're right now live. Everybody's watching this. We've had every problem you can imagine happen. So, okay. Just before. If you are watching this, congratulations. Our getting up and running here. I'm trying to this whole process while I'm here on the road. I'm here and I'm doing all this over the the things I don't have here. Things a little bit. So it took me a while to figure out how to get online. So my name is Michael. You're just seeing me. Why is he even talking about this? Who is? Well, I'm going to show you a little bit about how to draw today. And what I'm going to show you how to draw today is ears. People are drawing people on, and a couple on the side of the head, and that's often because people don't really learn how to. Firstly, looked at it and thought, those are pretty complicated. Where would we begin? So that's why I'm going to show you how to draw some ears today. So let's get all the, okay. Okay. Well, let's really what I do up draw. So let's your book and use whatever kinds of you like. So, well, I'm going to use my colored pencil. Just cut drawing here. So, red and blue. And we famous in or his probably heard the story of him cutting his ear off. A really fabulous documentary a few years ago. This woman went on the search for the whole story. Some idea earlobe off and gave it to this woman who has long been known as a prostitute, but this woman did some research and found out he did cut off most of his ear and left what was left was a little bit of his earlobe, and then it was this guy who lived in that kind of seedier part of Amsterdam, was probably more virtuous than as originally been described or ascribed. Anyway, I've just put that out there since it's such a common here in the sun. I've got the sun face, so this is just I won't wear see my face. So let's find an we use where's that? So I'm gonna. Oh, is it this one? Let's see how this is Wi-Fi. So self-portrait, bandaged ear. This was, I think this is the better version of this painting. I was actually thinking of drawing another one. Slow. Here we go. I'm just gonna drag this up while I fix this. Okay. So let's try a sketch of a picture, and I don't have the set up here, so I'm gonna let me enlarge this. I'm gonna see if I can draw this. With I guess this needs to be here. Oh. Okay, so drawing his face. There was another one that I was really thinking of drawing, which I thought is kind of a bad version of this. So let's just try the iPhone here. How's that? We're gonna get a lot more of the background noise coming in here. Okay. So let's try drawing this oval shape of a head here. And this is a bit of a preview to what we're going to draw in the future. We got this egg. Oh man, that's so bright, isn't it? Maybe I'm just going to shift over here into the shadow. And okay. And let's try this again. Best laid plans, right? Okay. So this is this egg shape, and then I've cut it in half, but rather than going right down the middle, because his head is kind of turned slightly. Right, and then let's divide this in half this way. And then I'm looking for the point on, I guess you can't see on the iPad there, but I'm just looking for where his eyes are. So let's say his eyes are right there and right there. Halfway down is the nose, and then halfway between that is the mouth. Okay. And then I'm really gonna quickly, again, this is just our warm-up drawing. I'm gonna draw these kind of almond shapes around his eyes. Okay. And then I'm gonna draw his nose. This is where we want to get to, and the big kind of bump on his nose here. All right, and this is his eye, his brow there. And I'm just going to chisel quickly away at his jaw. Okay. And then we've got a nostril. Right? Ay, ay, ay. Mosquitoes, another thing, thing that happens when you're trying to draw outside. And his lips. So the other version of this, which I was going to draw, but since it's my internet is a little spotty, everything's a little spotty out here. This is the top. It sort of looks like he's an air pilot or something, you know, like World War I with the flaps. And then he's got the top of his hat here. Okay. So, you know, I'm going to keep on drawing a little bit of his clothes really quickly. Oops. So this is why you sketch things out, is you... So this, okay, so now his jacket comes down here, and there's a button. And then I'm looking for where the other collar happens. And this arm, okay. And it gets a little confusing when you get all these lines. So this is the wrong collar, here's the right collar. Sun goes in behind some clouds and I can see a little bit better again. Let's move this up here, sorry. Okay, I think I'm in the zone. Okay. So now I'm going to go with a darker, well, I'm using my blue here just to show you that this would be your original part of the sketch, kind of just the basic lines. And let's just turn this. Okay. So now let's start doing a little bit more close detail. So I'm trying to get the shape of his eyelids here. So they're kind of like a triangular kind of shape. Right, and then there's this other fold. Right, see that shape there? And so you've got this pupil there. That's going to make him look a little bit, his eyes a little bit wide. Oops. Darken that up a bit. So you see how I just kind of clipped the bottom of his iris down there? Otherwise it would look like his eyes were wide open, which they're not, right? Okay. So then I'm just going to kind of come over and go like, okay. So if this is part of this, maybe this nose needs to kind of be a little bit wider. So then we've got this part of his eye here. And this, again, almond shapey kind of, not so bright, I can hardly see. Okay. And I think the way that I've drawn him so far is he kind of looks like he's looking right at us. Well, I guess he is in the original painting. This kind of bumpy nose. And under here is the nostril. Okay. So I'm going to have to move his lips over a little bit. I'm kind of painting maybe, or I'm drawing this maybe a little bit more angular than normal, but that's, I guess it's kind of a reflection of just the way that he painted, like with these kind of very, like these, his brush strokes are like little tiny lines, right? So that rather than these kind of more flowing lines. So I tell you, I needed a warm-up drawing here. This is helpful. Oh, so his chin maybe could be a little bit lower here. Maybe I'm just going to lower that. Okay. Come down here. So the other thing too, while I'm doing this, is I don't have access to the comments at the moment. I can check them while I can only do one thing: show this image of Van Gogh on one screen, or look at the comments. So I'll get to those towards after a little bit here. I'm sure there's people telling me about the audio being off, so I appreciate the comments. My wife is inside, I think, moderating and helping a little bit, so thank you to her. Okay, now this funny looking hat thing. I'm just gonna look like the explosion of a, or like a word balloon or thought balloon, of somebody shouting or something. Maybe this is a little higher. How much more do I want to put into this artwork here? Just as a, again, a quick warm up. We'll do a little bit of texture on the face. Now my sketchbook is actually not at a comfortable distance away from me, so I'm actually looking at this drawing. I'm kind of looking at this drawing from this angle, right? Because normally my sketchbook would be much closer to my body, but the way that I'm drawing, so I'm looking at the two of them, and there is some distortion happening in my drawing. But again, it's a warm-up. And you could also think of every drawing or painting that you make as a warm-up. That it's all a little bit, like every drawing is an exercise that's helping you learn and get better and better and better. So rather than kind of thinking like there's, making this distinction between kind of the practice drawing and the real drawing. They're all kind of practices for, at least that's the way I think about my own artwork anyway. I think it's helpful to do kind of it's helpful to go into an artwork thinking, okay, this is a warm-up and I have no expectations whatsoever. And if it turns out, that's great. There are artworks, I'm working on artwork right now that has significantly more at stake. But even as I'm working on it, the first drawings that I do aren't as good as the drawings that come afterwards. So, okay. And it's starting to rain. Okay, beautiful. And nothing I have out, none of the equipment is waterproof. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see, before, I might as well jump right into the lesson here, because if it's gonna rain, then, which it's doing right now. Okay, so you see on the screen there is come on. This ear, right? So what we're just gonna jump right into that, because I see the sky is getting darker and darker, so I may have to call it a day here in 5-10 minutes at most. So I'm going to go right into drawing ears. Now, drawing ears sound really difficult, but they're actually relatively simple. So let's just jump right into here and look at the shape of the ear. So the ear, and I'm going to draw this. I can't get it any bigger than, well, maybe let's see if I can hold it there. So let's straighten the sketchbook out and bring it up here. Oh. Okay, so the ear, I like to think of the ear as like an avocado shape. So let's draw like an egg or an avocado. And you can see that I've tilted it. So the ear is kind of always, it looks crooked. If we're starting with an avocado, instead of the avocado kind of balancing on its tip, we've tipped it over onto its side. Right? And this just helps us get into the basic shape here. Okay. Of course, I'm using water-soluble pencils today while it's raining. So let's say this is the outside of the avocado, right? And then let's draw, if you cut open your avocado and then you have that kind of, how it's kind of darker green. I should be using green for this. Darker green, and then it gets lighter, and then we have your seed. So let's put the seed in here. Excuse me. Okay, so, and depending on the quality of the avocado you buy, it could be a cheap one with these tiny little, or the great big seed inside, or I guess if you spend a little bit more money, you get the seed is smaller because you get more the meat of the avocado. So once we've got this done here, what I want to do is, oh, thanks, love. My wife brings the umbrella out. One thing, I was kind of a little tip that I thought was kind of helpful is thinking about turning this outside into a question mark, right? So this here, right? So let's say this is your earlobe being the period part of the avocado, of the question mark, and then we come up here, and then I'm going to curve it in a little bit. So we've got this shape and then this. All right. And then this sort of curves in right about middle point here. Okay. And then, so let's start here with that, right? So, okay, actually, and then inside here we have, let's say, the letter Y, right? This Y shape. So, and you can see that in the image to the right there. This here is the interior part, right? And this is the exterior part. So let's just, looking at the image to the right here, let's kind of trace around this. We've got, let's see, this is the outside shape. And then it kind of, depending on who it is, it might kind of cut in like this. And then we've got this kind of outer ring here. And it kind of just dissipates right here. Okay. Now with this Y shape, depending on who you are, this part can sometimes come up and over, right? Everyone's got different ears, but and then I guess in this photograph, this person's ear kind of comes a little bit more like this. So I kind of draw these shapes, and then it kind of slopes in towards this, to the earlobe. And then it comes up. All right. So let me just get a different color. So I'm not even really looking at the photo to the right here. I should maybe even have hidden it. So you don't get too obsessed with that. In fact, let's just do that because oops. Okay. So the way that this, so here's kind of your, and again, I think what's interesting about ears is everybody's ear is a little bit different. So here's kind of the notch in the ear. This is the outer structure. And then we have, it kind of curves in here. And so maybe a little faster version of this whole thing would be, here's your avocado. And then, so if we start here with the earlobe and come up, right, and then we'll, and then we have this Y shape. So that makes sense. And this is where it gets dark under here. Maybe I'm gonna go over these shapes so you see. All right, so these are the kind of the ridges that are coming up. And so if we want, we can shade them. And this is going to be this is the ear. It's where your eardrum is and where all that wax and everything builds up. That's right inside of here. All right, so this is going to be the darkest part of that whole drawing. Looks like the rain kind of stopped a little bit. Okay. And then actually, you know what? I'm just going to darken around here, just so you can see. Let's say this is, you know, depending on the kind of ear you have, maybe you have earlobes, you have a larger earlobe, or your earlobe attaches right to your head directly. I can't remember the name, there's the difference between those. Attached, non-attached, or something like that. Let's get it darkened. So let's. I'm gonna now try to draw the ear that was in the photograph right next to us. So I'm gonna bring this down, and then let's try doing this again. So, can I crop this? This way we can make a nice big ear crop. This one's head down here. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we can get a nice big ear. There we go. Okay. So let's start this all over from scratch. I've got this ear. So let's say this is up and down. Here's the avocado, or your egg shape. Okay. And I'm gonna draw the inner part, the fleshy part of the avocado, and then the nut. I know that technically probably it should be over here, but if we're doing a real avocado, but that gets us into the zone. Okay. And then I'm not even, again, at this point, I'm barely looking at this photograph here on the right side of your screen. So we know we have this kind of Y shape in here. All right, so I just kind of put that in there, and then we have the ear is going to curl in towards the center. Okay. So that means that this kind of, now I'm looking at her actual ear here to see if I can get this shape. So hers kind of goes like this, and then we come down here. Is that the way it goes? Oh, it kind of just goes like this. I think maybe I'm just gonna move it over. So here's this part of her ear. So this area of her ear is kind of a little thicker than it might be in other people, right? And okay, so this here, now I'm going to come back around to the outer part of the avocado. It's got a little bump there, up and around. This is usually kind of a fairly thin, right? That little notch, this, I think it's called the helix, is a little bit thinner, right? So it's, we're gonna kind of trim that down. But once we've got this, we're in great shape. So I'm just gonna start kind of, towards the, every time's different where I'm starting. So let's say I'm going to start in this area here. And describe this part here. Again, you can see that just because my sketch has lines there, I can ignore those lines and I can move them around. They're there as reference points to help me. And if I feel like as I'm drawing they're in the wrong place, that's okay. I can kind of move them around a little bit. So it kind of straightens a little bit out here. Oh, mosquito. Now this area is kind of dark. I think you probably can see it better than I can. I kind of like that. There's a freedom often to, if you can't see it exactly, then you can kind of make certain things up. Okay, so now I'm going to start trimming this down. Now, I think I'm going to have to come in much closer here. I can't really see her earlobe. I think it's something like that. Okay. So how are we doing? Now I can kind of compare them. Okay, pretty good. Maybe in this area, in my drawing, maybe I should just bring that up a bit. And that thins this out a bit. That's okay, because I can always just darken some of these things. Okay. So now I'm going to start, again, if we think about these, the way that things go kind of up and down and up and down, right? I want to be able to describe that in through my shading. So I'm just going to first try to lay in some of the darker areas, because they're going to be dark no matter what. So I'm just going to start building up some darkness into here. You can see I'm using the side of my pencil, and I'm just making these kind of like circular kind of shapes. A good way of just getting things darker quickly. Then as I get to lighter places, I just let off a little bit. No music today, but I don't know if you can hear the sound of the water, the river kind of rushing in behind me there. I don't know if that comes off as just white noise, or you can kind of hear it. It is quite lovely. I mean, there's something almost silly about me trying to use all of this technology in this beautiful outdoor setting, but I wanted to see if it could be done. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna see about maybe another color here. It could be, no, it's gonna use, oh, it's a pretty small pencil. Trying to find something that would be dark that I could use. Maybe this darker green. Okay. Or should I use something a little more flesh colored? Maybe I'm gonna come back with this pink, because it also will work well with the colors that I have on here. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the same sort of thing. I'm just gonna get darker here, but I'm gonna try to see, I'm using these kind of curving shapes as I'm shading here to emphasize the curved area around this ear. And then maybe I'm just gonna alternate here, going curving this way as opposed to curving this way. Okay, same thing. You know, drawing like something like an ear, you know, seems like very simple, but I think it's one of those, well, I don't know how you feel, but but your own drawing. But it's one of those things that if you pull off these kind of simple details in a face rather than ignoring them, it makes it, it tells somebody looking at it that, you know, that you sort of know a little bit more about what you're doing. You know, it's like if you go to somebody's house or a restaurant and they're using some process that is a little bit more difficult to, beyond kind of just your regular, you know, house chef. You're just like, whoa, I've seen that on Top Chef or whatever, but I certainly can't do that myself. And it's a little, it might not be that difficult, but it really makes an impact on the people who are looking at your artwork. So you might be looking at this and feeling like, oh, look at those. I can see it, but I don't know about all those lines. Like they're just, it looks kind of too diagrammatic. Well, these are all lines that we can get rid of just by continuing to go over it, or I can start blending it with my finger. So you're not trapped with all these sort of, with the lines that I'm drawing on here. I use these to help guide me. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to come back. I'm just going to use this blue again. This combination of colors is kind of nice. Just because together they're going to create a different color. They're going to make kind of a brown kind of. So instead of my shadows just being black, if I just use a plain black pencil, the layering colored pencils is going to give a little bit more dimension. Now, ideally, what I would do would be to show you how to draw ears and different angles here, so I'm not sure if I can get the internet to cooperate here. Okay, so this needs to get darker and darker and darker. You guys can come over inside. Let's take a second. You guys can sit over here.
Here's a little messy.
You look beautiful.
Hi. Hey.
This is my daughter, or our daughter, Edie.
And yours. The ears look good. Right? You say hi? Hi.
Yeah, we're drawing ears.
Wow.
Maybe while you're here, I wonder, maybe since I have you here, maybe can I take a picture
Oh gosh.
of your ear?
I hope there's nothing weird in it.
How about turn to face me?
Okay.
Where's the camera on this?
Here's
Oh, right down there. So I just want to get...
Oh.
Maybe we'll do, which ear was this? We'll do,
This one?
yeah, so just kind of looking towards me, and I'm just going to try to Oh, and kind of tilt your head down. There we go. Oh, I don't know if these are going to be in focus.
She's a wild worm. What's Daddy doing? Oh, mosquitoes everywhere.
Well, let's try doing this photo of your blurry photo of your ear. It's not ideal.
And I think somebody was asking a question about doing a class on charcoal. That's a cool idea.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, it'd be fun to show people how to use charcoal for sure.
All right, well, we can let you be. But Edie was wondering, where's Daddy? Yeah, see? What's Daddy doing? Say hi, everybody. So nice to see you. Hope you're making some nice drawings. Right? Sorry to interrupt.
So pretty.
All right, we're going to go have dinners.
Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy.
Bye-bye.
Speaking of avocado, you're probably going to have some avocado, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, avocado time. Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Have fun.
So let's try drawing my wife's ear. Blurry ear here that I tried to photograph. So again, we're going to try using the avocado method. So I'm going to see if I can do this really big. Again, my ability to see this is, actually I should use stay consistent and use the pink or red for the first layer. Okay. So here's my avocado. Again, same thing. You know, it's on its side, right? Even though I'm drawing the ear from straight on. Got a crazy shadow again, don't we? Look how bright. The sun is now right there. So, I'm gonna shuffle things down here to the side. Okay, you get to see. Today's episode is a messy episode, isn't it? So much going on. And if people are still watching, you guys are troopers. Okay, and then I'm just going to quickly move the camera over. And I think I got batteries are going to start dying any moment, so I may not have this camera in front of me for too much longer. Okay. Maybe I'll take a quick sip of tea. Okay. So, I'm trying to get these, make this a little bit smaller. That's kind of consistent with, okay. So this part of so we've drawn the ear. Well, maybe I'll just kind of go back here. So here's our first ear that we drew from the side. right? So we're looking at somebody's turned, and so we only see one eye, right? This, however, now we're looking at a face straight on, right? So we can still draw this same shape to get started, but instead now we have the head, which is going to kind of intersect. Let's draw it straight on, like so. Let's say this would be kind of where the head is, right? Depending on where you're, on the angle you're looking at it, and you could see my wife's head, just the way that this was photographed. It's sort of coming, pretty much almost straight up and down through here on a 45-degree angle. All right. So this part of the ear is not visible. It's sort of hidden inside of the head. But this part we can see. So I'm going to chisel in here for her earlobe. All right, and then it's going to come up and around here. So I'm still using this avocado shape in order to kind of get this shape here, right? Because if I just said, okay, let's try to draw this shape, well, that's a different shape. It's harder to draw that kind of thing. Okay, so let's, again, we have that fleshy part of the avocado inside here. And then we've got the seed. What have I been calling it? The nut or something? Right? Okay. Gosh, I can hardly see. And does that help? I think everybody watching this on their computer has a much better version. You can see a lot more detail than I can currently. Okay. So let's kind of continue this in here. So this is, remember we had the question mark shape, right? This part. So this is what I'm drawing right here. Now I don't see too much of it, so it just sort of comes in here. And then it technically kind of comes all the way in here, but you won't see too much of it. And then we have our Y shape. Okay. Now remember I was saying that some people, that this Y shape kind of comes up over top of the ear, which is the case. I think most people have the same sort of shape that my wife's ear has here. All right, so this Y shape kind of comes down and up. Okay, so here, and then the other part, so we have this, the Y, and then we have, and then it's going to come back in, and then we have this area here, this, oh gosh, I can't remember what this is, but this is often what draw people's ears. A lot of people will draw this part and then this part and maybe call it a day. So here, a big head getting in the way as I'm struggling to see what we've got going on here. Okay, so now I'm going going to start darkening things as I kind of plot out where things go. In fact, I'll even put in her earring here, because I'm actually going to draw the full shape, even though obviously part of it is hidden because we can't see the other side of that earring. So but I want to be able to make sure this is a consistent shape. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start right here. So, you know, I'm just, as I'm working on this, it's so hard to see, it's so bright out. I think to myself, like, today's a bit of, for me, kind of pointing, disaster. Maybe I'll re-record this properly without all these interruptions. And then I guess the other part of me thinks, maybe this is helpful for people. Huh. That's weird. I don't have... Okay, I don't know why the sound is cutting in and out. I'm sorry about that. Well, here I am. I was going to say that, you know, that today was a bit of a lesson. I say that as I'm thinking, I'm like, nothing's working. I'm gonna have to remake this video. And then I started thinking, well, maybe it's helpful for people to see the struggle. And that things aren't always working out properly, and you have to make some adjustments, or you have to kind of live with things sometimes. And then, of course, then we have, my wife tells me about another audio problem. So, we'll see. Okay, so I've got the kind of structure down. Pretty happy with it. Again, I'm kind of drawing a little blind here. So I'm just going to put in some of these lines so people see this is the shape. Like this, have I?
Not for too long, like a couple minutes.
That should work. Why did it not work before?
Like 4 minutes, Matt?
I could see it. Okay, so apologize for the sound problem there. Not sure what you all heard and didn't hear. Well, one thing I was saying is I keep thinking like, well, today's show is a bit of a disaster and I should re-record this, and then as I start talking about it, I think like, you know what, this is good. It's good for people to see me struggling, see a professional artist like losing their mind, and then another technical glitch happens, and I think, well, at what point is that no longer, or people, no one's gonna bother sticking around to get the info if it's just a real struggle. They can't hear anything or see anything. So, I don't know. You tell me what you think in the description.
Michael?
Yep.
So, it's only the video facing you. That down camera's not working.
Oh, because I can't. Why have I? Why am I? Oh, no, it should be. I don't know what is going on, why I'm having so many problems today. You take all of this out of the studio, and then you try to do it in an unconventional environment, and I guess I wasn't as prepared as I thought I would be to do this. So, I think I might redo this video at a future date here. But the fact that there's people watching who are commenting, despite all of this, makes me think there's people out there who really, really want to learn. And that, as a teacher and as an artist, makes me really happy, because if people want to learn, then I feel like the world is in a much better place than I sometimes feel it is in. Because I always just think, man, if everybody was able to express themselves positively, whether that's through art or music or dance, boy, we would have a different world, wouldn't we? Ay, something's on my elbow there. But, I will say, mosquito, doing all of this is great practice for me. Like, well, not the drawing necessarily, but using all this technology. And the only time we really, really learn is when everything goes wrong and we have to figure a way to make it work. So every time this kind of stuff happens, like, oh, okay, if this happened again in the future, I already know a dozen things I would do differently to make this work. So in that sense, today's been like really, really successful for me, for helping me make better videos in the future. So again, I can't see too much detail here. It's too bright for my eyes. So I think this is shady down here. So what I'm just gonna kind of start ignoring the photograph because I got such a big glare on it at the moment that I'm just gonna try to finish this drawing off as believable as I can. And I think we're pretty close. Like there's not too much more that I want to do. We've got her hair is kind of is in this area here. On Thursday, I'll be in a much more controlled environment, and I'm going to teach you how to draw hair. So I'm not going to spend time on that, but I just want to kind of articulate where this hair is. It kind of comes up here, and often there might be an actual strand or two coming this way. I think that's good. What would be another view? It'd be nice if I could take a photograph. Amy? Amy? See if I can grab her and take a photograph from behind. I think, well, unless she comes out here, I think I've got this camera in front of me is about to die. You know what? So I think, oh yeah, can you come here for a second?
Hold on.
Just, oh. I just need you for 10 seconds to take a quick photograph. Okay, maybe if you just want to sit down here just for a second.
Okay.
And just turn your back.
Oh. What?
Just stop moving. I'll turn. Okay. Oh, this long, beautiful hair. Edie. Okay, so beautiful. Oh, this is gonna be kind of funny. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly show how to draw this ear from this side.
Oh, big bleed.
This switch looks so crooked here. Okay. So let's we're gonna continue drawing this kind of avocado shape here. Maybe I'll make this bigger. As pleasant as it is to see. Well, it's a little bit smaller, so the sketch was not quite done.
Her eye just glaring there. So funny. Oh, okay. I need to walk her down here for a minute.
So this time we've got our avocado shape. I guess in this photograph, you know, technically it's always kind of on an angle a little bit, right? In this photograph, not quite as much. In fact, it's kind of more straight up, right? And her head is kind of coming through. So let's do this again on this side from the back. All right. Okay. So again, this is hidden here by her head. And then in here we have this sort of like structure, and this is going to curve down. Now, I'm kind of exaggerating a little. I didn't get quite the photograph that I wanted for this purpose, so I'm just going to kind of take a little bit from the photograph and then just, you know, move on from it. Because I want you to be able to, you know, get the idea. So we have, this is the outer part, I think, again, the helix, if I recall. Now, I'm going to come, her hair is obviously covering a lot of this. This would be her hair and her neck here. But we have, this is kind of how it would look, something like that. And shape here. Just that little, my daughter's eye there, I just think it's so funny. So often, depending on how big your people's earlobes are, you know, this kind of cylinder might, it's always going to be kind of up around here, right? But it might be higher or lower depending on your picture. And I can't see, I think it would be, for my wife's ear, would be probably something like this. Okay, and then let's just, I'm gonna quickly shade this in. I think batteries are about to die. I said that a little while ago, but I'm pretty sure it's in that danger zone here. So this is all kind of one shape, right? And then let's just kind of put some of these going around. And as so they going up this way, and then as we kind of come around here, we go straight, and then they kind of go the other direction. These curves. Okay, so then I'm just going to go back over here. This is going to be quite dark underneath there. I'm using as much of the side of my pencil as possible. So typically around this time, I would, is that going out of focus? Ah, great. So it's getting confused by the light. So typically around this time, I would Okay. Well, this is the only camera that's working. Everything else has died. I think you get the idea of these different views. The one we were just working on, the rear view of the ear, that's pretty uncommon for people to be drawing that anyway. So that's, you know, if you're a comic book artist and you want to draw characters looking the other way, I'd say for the most part, anybody watching this is probably not going to be drawing somebody from behind. So at the very least, if you can draw an ear from the side, you know, or draw an ear from the front, you know, if that makes sense, from the front, and then drawing it from, I don't know, the side or front, however, whatever way you want to use it. Yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit shell-shocked and brain-dead here, so I don't, maybe I can see if I can find any kind of comments. And again, now we're using this horrible audio from across here. You know what, instead of me trying to deal with this bad audio situation, I think I'm just going to call it a show, and we will meet up again on Thursday, where I'll be in a much more controlled environment, and we'll be able to do this properly. So thank you everybody for your patience and for watching today's episode. I know it wasn't ideal, but I'm sure if you were following along, I'm sure you've got something out of it and were able to draw an ear. What?
Heidi sent you 2 on Instagram.
So Heidi, we'll get to your photos on Thursday. Thank you so much everybody. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day.